Today I'm going to work on a botanical illustration of a bird of paradise. I'm working in my little 8.5 by 11 sketchbook. It's a watercolor sketchbook. It's by Pentalic, and it has really good quality paper. See, I want to make sure I can see what you're seeing here. Just a second. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to do is do a little bit of a drawing on tracing paper just to show you the process. And so I have a piece of tracing paper here. And I'm just going to put it over the paper I'll be using. And I've got to put on my glasses so I can see this. Okay. And brighten up the page as much as I can. And the first thing I'm going to do is just do kind of a sweeping line to show the main axis or direction of some of the parts here, just so that I have sort of a skeleton to go on. So that I have the main lines, and now I can flesh them out. So such a beautiful flower. And one reason to use the tracing paper is I can adjust it without having to really erase. When I do my initial drawing, I don't have everything just right. It gives me another chance to just take a better look, you know, at the shapes and so forth.
I was also thinking in terms of doing these studies on tracing paper, is if you were ultimately, if your goal was to do a larger work, incorporating a bunch of studies in a central large thematic picture, if you have all these sketches on trace, you could move them around and position them,
No, that's
as
right.
a compositional.
And as an illustrator, I know you've worked as an illustrator also. That's what we would do. I would move things around because I had it on tracing paper. And I could see different options. I liked that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I know my arm's kind of in the way here, but I'll do my best. Okay, so this is just my basic drawing. Let's see, I want to just make sure I've got the negative spaces correct that I want to show. I'm looking here. Oh, this kind of overlaps this. Okay. There's a little bit of a curve down here that I missed also. Okay, now this next step for this. Oh, wait, I've missed one little thing here. There's another little blue section. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is turn it over. The reason I'm turning it over is that I need to do the drawing again on the back of the tracing paper so that I can transfer it to my other paper. So I'm holding my pencil sideways. And it's an HB pencil. It's a soft pencil, fairly soft. And I'm doing the line on the back. I'm a little mixed up as to where I should actually do the drawing. But hopefully it'll all come through okay. Oops. Gotta make sure the paper's underneath it or it'll be transferred to my good paper. Okay, I have the major lines on here now, so now I'm gonna bring it back over here and I need to tape it down so that I get a good line. So let me grab some tape. I have handy this blue tape. All right. So now holding my pencil so that I've got kind of a sharp point, I'm going to go over the line again. And it should be transferring to my paper.
I'm thinking you could use a harder pencil for that purpose, for that stage too.
Yeah, yeah, you could use a colored pencil too. That's where you could
Yeah,
tell whether you've
yeah.
gone over the line. I could, but I didn't want to take the time to go get one.
Could you use a
And I,
colored pencil for the back part, the line that you're gonna leave tracing,
You could use a softer pencil.
but like a blue pencil or a,
Oh, not on the back, because you
yeah,
want
that's what I mean.
to, graphite would transfer better than a colored pencil. I actually made myself a transfer sheet with a really soft pencil on tracing paper, and then I made it, I used a rubber cement thinner to fix it. And I usually use that, but because you guys don't have one of those, I decided I'll just do it this way. You can buy transfer paper at the art supply store too.
Save you from breathing rubber cement fumes.
Use what?
I'm spooky about solvents, and rubber cement fumes are particularly nasty.
Yeah, well, I do it in a pretty well ventilated area.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the makeup of the thinner is anymore, but it used to be benzene.
Yeah. I think that's what I have. I still have the old one.
Hmm.
Well, there's some things that didn't transfer, but I can make them up. I mean, I've got enough here where I can actually see where to put it. And let's see. I think I see a few more places where I didn't do the best job of drawing. Mainly what I needed is a guideline. It's not going to be like a perfect scientific illustration. Okay. I know it's kind of hard to see where, because it's light on the paper, but I don't want it to be too strong or it won't. It'll stay once I put the paint down, so that wouldn't be good. Let me get a kneaded eraser and actually just blot up some of the darkest area. Like this right here. Kind of dark. So I'm using it like a rubber stamp, this kneaded eraser. Okay. Let me show you my brushes. I have two favorite brushes. These are my long round brushes. They're Velvet Touch Princeton, a number 6 and a number 8. They have a really good point on them. For bigger paintings, I have this large number 24 round. And then I have a rigger, which is a long skinny point. It's a Princeton Aqua Elite number 4. And I have a scrubber brush. It's a bristle brush with an angle on it so that I can scrub out or lift things. And I've got, it's got an angled point on the end so that I can scrape out lines if I want to. Those are the main brushes that I use. And I have some flat brushes too. Here's a small number. Let's see, just a small flat. That's probably a 1/4 inch flat. Any questions about my brushes? Okay. Okay, so to start with, I'm going to do very similar to what we saw the other person do. And that is to check on my colors. I have some Perylene green here. I don't have very much of it, but I really like Perylene green. And so I want to start with this section. Oops, wait, I got to change a little bit. I see here of the drawing. I'm going to start with this main shape. Let me just change this part of the drawing because on my photo, this orange part overlaps. So this is my Paroline green here. I'm gonna take a little bit of that. And I'm just gonna paint this shape.
That's an interesting color to me too, and I'm thinking, I have a little bit, but I haven't used it much, but I like it. And
It's
I know in one of the other videos that they used a hooker's green. I'd be inclined to use the Paroline.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful color. It's becoming one of my favorites. So while it's still wet, I'm dropping a little bit more of it in there on this lower section. And then one of the things that I do, and the other person mentioned too, is dropping a little dioxazine purple into it to make it even darker in some areas. And so like over in here.
And the color of that blend is lovely too, because they're both so cool.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I want to put in a little bit, just a little bit of a yellow in here too, as it goes up toward the edge. I think I'm using yellow ochre. And then I'm going to use some rose madder genuine for this red edge. I want to make my image a little smaller so I can see what you guys are seeing, because I want to make sure you can see got them both, got one too big. Okay. All right, so the color is very light so far here. I need to come back and strengthen it. I'm going to take a little bit of Hooker's green now, which is a darker green, more vibrant. And I'm going to mix a little bit of the Paroline or the purple with it. Come back in and get darker in here. And this, to me, I see, I'm looking at it's in the shadow, but I see what I think, it feels more like a viridian also. So I'm going to add a little bit of viridian, which is kind of a blue-green. I'm missing a little bit of the purple too again. Whoops. Okay. I added a little ultramarine into the Caroline green too. Yeah, I think that's getting fairly dark, so that's good. All right, now let's go to some of the oranges. I'm gonna start with yellow though. I'll start with, let's see, what yellow do I see? Sort of a lemon yellow. Oh, I've got to get rid of this pencil line. And then here too. I should have erased a little more of that line, but I guess maybe it'll just be a shadow. Again, a little bit of the yellow over in here. Okay, now I'm getting my cat orange. Erase some of this too. Okay. While it's still damp, I'm gonna drop more color into the orange. And I want to add just a little bit of a red too, like, you know, Windsor red, I think I have. Or maybe I should use Scarlet Lake. Scarlet Lake is more of an orangey, warm red. Now I'm just lifting a little bit on the edge with what they call a thirsty brush. Went over the line a little bit. It looks like there's a little bit of opera in here. It's sort of a pinkish, bright pinkish tone. One of my favorite colors, by the way. I think I made that a little bit too wide there.
I'm just curious, since you mentioned, maybe being too wide, is it liftable? The
Is it,
opera?
is it what, Tim?
Liftable?
Um, the Rose Madder Genuine is, yeah. The I
I
want
meant the opera. The opera was what I was asking
the
about.
opera is, I mean, the thing that was, I think, too wide, well, it was that I didn't do this drawing right. I had this is small negative space here. And so I made this too thick, but I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just that I have to adjust this, but both of those are liftable.
Okay, well, that was my main
Yeah,
impetus here, was not to
that, see,
critique
I
your
can
drawing.
remove some of that. Oh, it does look really fat now. I guess I should have just had a bigger space in between. Nobody would have known. I tend to work with transparent, non-staining colors as much as possible, just so that I have more flexibility.
Yeah, that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah, good question.
What is your favorite non-staining green?
Well, Viridian. And then just mixing a green with, something like a cobalt and, depending on what kind of green, or Aureolin. And then I have this sap green. Let me just put a little sap green on here just to get a little bit of contrast. And then add a little cobalt to it. Okay. I'm gonna mix a little bit more of a orangey tone, but sort of a little bit of a kind of a coral. I have to move this slightly so I can get a better angle. I have some kind of a petal or something here that I don't know where it came from. Because I don't see it on the photo. I don't see a little bit, but not that big of a piece. Okay, let's go for the blue now. Getting a little bit of cobalt blue. And I'm putting some dioxazine purple in the shadow side down in here. While I'm at it, I'm going to add some down here. I'm enhancing,
Yeah,
pardon?
I didn't want to interrupt you. You were saying something.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I'm enhancing the color with some dioxazine purple down in here since I had it on my brush. You know, I was looking around to see where else I could use it.
Well, what I was starting to say was you need to have some Roger Miller music behind you.
Oh, you know, I can't remember what it's like. You'll have to tell me.
Well, he had a song called May the Bird of Paradise Fly Up Your Nose.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, how funny.
May the bird of paradise fly up your nose. May an elephant caress you with his toes. It's an insult song, quite funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, well,
So why are you insulting Sylvia, Tim?
I don't know. I did catch myself and say, okay, I'm sorry. I apologized in advance.
well, am I doing a corny painting?
No, 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 no. It's a bird of paradise. It just begged for that.
Yeah. We can use a little humor. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Certainly not. This is serious. This is art.
Okay. All right, so where's that other little blue thing? Let's see, what kind of blue is that? I had some, I think this might be what they call lavender, although it looks kind of blue to me on my palette. Let me see what happens if I use it. It's more opaque. It's a pretty color. Whoops, I goofed. All right, it looks like there's sort of an orangey point on this thing. I should go out and get one. Oh, mine look a little different. Mine will have a much more purple blue thing. Well, in the photo, there's this gray background behind it, which helps to emphasize things. So I have to compensate for that now and come up with a way to make things stand out a little bit better. A little more contrast. So some perylene green and ultramarine blue. I'm gonna make some lines here, so. Got a little bit of texture. I'm gonna turn on the light, it's getting very dark in here. I'm enhancing the yellow slightly with I think it's maybe Hansa yellow, something that's a little stronger. Uh-oh, it's bleeding. Well, this is a little heavy-handed, the one that I did. I'm not that thrilled with it.
The colors are glorious.
Well, I love these colors. I'm trying to paint flat, which is not my normal thing. And can't get the angle of my brush right when I'm painting flat. Okay. Now I'm coming in with a little alizarin crimson, which is an even stronger red. Just decided it needed that. Okay, I'm going to ask if anybody has anything to share. I'll just let that dry.